You're listening
Ron and Don Show.
to the Ron and Don Show. And yes, my dad's pretty annoying.
All right, Ron and Don Show, episode number 20. Don't forget to rate us, give us some stars, give us a review. That helps all the algorithms. Also, share it on your socials. I still get people that were like, what? I didn't know you guys were doing the show. And so if you help us out with that, I really appreciate it. I want to get your take on this because we've been following versions of this story for many years. But a man named, and I'm going to butcher his name, Eliud Kipchoge, just broke the 2-hour world record to run 26.2 miles. But there is some controversy here. And I want to get your take because you've been running a lot recently. Last couple of years, you've ran a lot. You've done a marathon and you've done trail races and all that stuff. And so there's controversy here because this was a corporate-sponsored event. Nike did one a couple of years ago where they tried to break 2 hours with the same guy for 26.2 miles. This one was sponsored by the richest man in Britain. They created a course in Vienna that was, I think, a 6 or 7 mile loop. And so this 34-year-old Kenyan ran it in 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 40 seconds, which they say is like landing on the moon. Like, that means he ran a 4-minute and 30-second mile for 26.2 miles. Before we get into the controversy, what do you think of as a person who's ran a marathon when you hear a 4:30 mile for 26.2 miles?
Well, I've never run a marathon on pavement. I've run a marathon in the woods, and running a marathon in the woods is a much different animal than running on pavement like this, because you can in the woods, you're going up, you're going down,
right,
trees, rocks, logs, and all that. My marathon in the woods, mine took over 5 hours. One of the reasons why it took over 5 hours because I ran almost 30 miles because I got celebratory. And I thought I was out front in front of everyone because there's nobody out there. And then when I figured out the reason nobody was out there is because I was completely off course, and I ended up running probably 4 more miles than I was supposed to. But still, if I would have stayed on course, my marathon still would have been 4 hours something out in the woods, granted. But to run under sub 2 hours, I can't even relate to that.
So now here's the controversy. I want your take on it. The running community is saying this is not a world record. This is not even a marathon, because what they did is he had teams of 7 elite runners that would get in front of him in a V formation and set the pace. There was a car that would come up and sort of indicate pace, not drive in front of him, but just sort of indicate what the pace needed to be for a 4-minute, 30-second mile. And then he had, I think, a guy on a cyclist when he needed a carb boost. The guy would ride up next to him, hand him a water bottle full of carbs so he wouldn't have to stop, and he would drink this special carb drink that he likes. And so they're saying, yes, you ran 26.2 miles. Yes, you broke 2 hours, but no, it is not the world record for a marathon because it wasn't a competition. You weren't in a race racing other people, and this was sort of a curated environment. Looking at it as a guy that runs avidly, is this a world record in the marathon?
I think it could be a world record for an assisted world record, though, because he was certainly assisted on this. We see this on bicycles all the time. You'll hear that somebody broke a world record, but they did it in the velodrome. They did it with other bicyclists around them that were out front. And I'll give you an example. When I have trained out on the road before on a bicycle, and when I jump on a bike, if I am hauling, I can get it up myself on the other side between 35 and 40 miles an hour unassisted. If I get in the bumper, on the bumper of a Suburban for some reason, you open up the ambulance doors and that thing is rolling, I can get that bicycle, if you get sucked up into the draft of it, you can get it up close to 60 miles an hour when you get sucked up in the draft of Suburban. So what that is in human form, I don't know.
Well, that's what the V was. It's a breaking the wind form.
Yeah, so he certainly was drafting. He certainly was assisted. And then part of racing a marathon is the strategy of when do I stay back and draft off these other runners, whether it be in a horse race or a human race, and then when do I break out front, and will I have the energy at the end to
See,
have
I
that.
think
to
it's a
have
world
that final
record.
kick is somebody who's trying to pass
I think it's
me.
a world record. It is the distance of a marathon.
But it's assisted, right?
It is assisted, but not like mechanically. Like he had the new Nike shoes on, and he had these other elite runners. But like they do that in big races as well. You can hire Nike will hire Olympic or collegiate runners to set a pace and then drop off. Like that happens in the New York City Marathon or the Boston Marathon. I don't know. I think if you do the distance required and you broke 2 hours, it's a world record marathon. Like he ran the marathon, the fastest it's ever been run. I guess I don't know, like these purists coming in and go, oh, you're like, that doesn't count. It totally counts. He's not riding a dog out there getting assisted. He ran 4-minute and 30-second miles for 26.2 miles.
That is incredible.
That is insane.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I say he's the world record holder.
What is the farthest? And I'm not shaming you. What's the farthest that you've ever run?
I think I ran like 7K once.
7. Nobody runs 7K.
I do. It's a new distance that I'm setting.
You run a 5K, an 8K, a 10K, but you ran a 7K.
I'm the world record holder at 7K. No one else has ran that distance.
That's awesome, man. Run it down. Run it at 7K.
7K.
Oh, the other run it down radio. I love that.